I'm John. I'm with Cheryl Snapp Conner. She's the CEO and founder of Snapp Conner PR. And the question for today is, if you had to start Snapp Conner PR over again, completely from scratch, what would your first 100 days look like? How would you get sales? Like, would you recruit a team? What would that look like?
Well, it would look vastly different than what our genuine first 100 days was like.
Okay.
We were basking in good fortune our first 100 days because there was pent-up demand. The structure of the company that the crux of us had been in before was actually blocking access to the talent. And the CEO of that organization was acting more as a gatekeeper. So those individuals, now that they could reach us, did, and things flowed. That was wonderful. But what I would do differently now, we'd progress faster, because I've only just even recently realized you need to find your ideal customer, go get them. My former opinion was always make certain you deliver great value, that you protect that great reputation, and people walk through the door and say your reputation precedes you. Great. In theory, that sounds like a great time-saving approach. But in fact, it's not your ideal customer necessarily who is walking through the door.
Like, what is your ideal customer? If someone else is like creating a company, how do they identify their ideal customer?
It takes a little bit of analysis, but for us, we realized that the smaller startup companies are not ideal, that we're better off to give them training through Content University that would let them go as far as they can on their own, or to make a recommendation.
Okay.
We love entrepreneurs. We want them to have great PR, and they can do so much by themselves.
So what would be considered a small company that you would that would not be the best fit?
If it was an individual startup, you're looking for funding and you're hoping the PR is going to compel people to come and fund you.
Okay.
So you can really not afford anything. And people tend to make one of two mistakes. Either they spend far too much money of their savings or their early investment on the wrong things. And too many agencies are more checkmark hitters.
Okay.
So they're not really even getting effective PR for that investment. Or they try to do it all on their own without savvy or connections or advice and end up tripping on something, misspeaking.
And reading between the lines, do a lot of people come to a PR company ultimately because they think it will get them funding?
Yes.
Okay.
More often than you think.
As opposed to like, how do I drive sales?
Or thinking, if I get famous, it will all just fall into place from there.
Okay.
Like magic. And PR is not a replacement for sales. It's like the gasoline that you can pour on the sales fire, but it doesn't eliminate that need for you to do that job and to do it well.
Okay, perfect. So what would the rest of your first 100 days look like?
Well, I promoted people who had been loyal and come in and started it with me, and that was good.
Okay.
But what I should have done was make it far more clear, okay, this is a head start. This doesn't mean you've been made. So you really are vital to growing this company. You're not at the top of the pyramid to say, okay, I have veto vote on how you're bringing it for us.
Okay, so this is recruiting actual business partners to work with you? And would you give them equity if you had to do it again? Or
No, I would not give equity unless it was the kind of a structure that made sense, but ours wasn't. And in fact, even currently so far, my husband and I are the only owners.
Okay.
But we do profit share heavily.
Okay. One of my general rules is that if you're starting a company, one person should have majority control. And if you don't trust that one person to lead the ship, then you should never be on there in the first place.
No. Well, anyone in a company should expect that no matter what, that you're going to be earning your keep every month, every day. There is no protected position.
Do you find that with some of the early partners that you've had in the past that they've hit this level of maybe success and they got lazy? And how did you deal with that?
We've had people go backwards and just say, you know what? I'm not open to feedback. I'm not going to drive further. I've been the leader of this area from day one. And if you don't recognize that, but that's actually, unfortunately, a roadblock.
Okay.
Because that impedes your ability to bring in other people if there's this insistent voice that says, only if they're under me and paid less than me.
Got it. And that's not healthy for any organization.
No, but yet I've been here and, like this misunderstanding, like I didn't quit.
Okay.
Worst recession in history and I didn't quit. When in actuality, owners carry the onus of making certain nobody's job is lost or making sure they get paid. It actually would be a blessing if you wanted to quit when an economy is that slow. It's not that the company owes you a great debt that you must repay because you didn't
Okay.
quit. So there are those kind of misunderstandings that in hindsight I would set up much better and differently.
How would you get your first client, assuming you don't have the network that you currently have? Let's say you were like fresh out of college, you don't know anyone.
Maybe that's not a fair question because I'm
Okay.
a natural networker.
Okay.
But I would go to the most opportune place I could find. And if nothing else, PRSSA, there's the PR organization within the universities. Get involved there and do some things free of charge. Or strike a deal with someone and just say, I'm new. That means you are in position to get the best deal I'll ever offer anyone. Here's the value proposition. Are you game? Would you like to have this? And PR, of course, is attractive. Not very many people would ever say no. Or offer to write about somebody, interview them, show them your stuff, get it published. And once they have a taste of that value, they're going to want as much more as they can get.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much about sharing how, if you had to start a PR firm or over Cheryl Snapp Conner PR, what your first 100 days would look like. And join us again tomorrow for the next piece on our segment.